Welcome back to another episode of City Refs, the unofficial officials. I'm your boy Mondo. Of course, we have everyone's favorite Varsity Dan.
What's going
and
on?
we have my boy from Sporting KC, assistant athletic trainer, Eric Schwartz.
What's going on?
How's it going, man?
How you guys doing? You guys good? Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I guess we got to cheers really quick here. Let me.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
This
this
guy got the koozie.
I figured you guys would like that.
Man. Yeah, that is hilarious, man. Now we got the rivalries with the koozies already
That's
going.
Right.
Oh man. But yeah, we just wanted to let everyone know these are just your thoughts, right? And your perspective, so it's nothing to do with the club.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to say that everything I talk about is, again, I'm coming on as an individual, nothing to do with Sporting Kansas City, nothing to do from the club. This is my thoughts alone. But yeah, man, excited and glad you had me on. Obviously, we played soccer together back at SIUE, so this should be a good time, man. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't tell Daniel that, but we played SIUE club soccer together for like a year.
Was it just 1 year?
Yeah, I played for 1 year. Then I had enough of Elliot.
Bro, he probably listens to this. He's gonna be texting you.
Yeah, I know.
So what does club soccer mean?
Yeah, you want to go ahead, Eric? Let them know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's for those who weren't good enough to make the 22nd ranked Division I team. But no, I think it's just honestly, our team was stacked. We were good. It's a lot of guys that I don't know, that probably could have went and played, that went to a Division I college and were doing something else, and then a way to stay competitive. And I mean, we had practice 5 times a week. We would go travel and play other teams. We had a nationals tournament that we would play in. So I had a lot of fun. Obviously, you make a lot of good friends doing that. You stay competitive, you stay in the game. And that's kind of where I first met Mondo. I think we had a good team that year, didn't we? I don't remember how far we went, but we always were.
Yeah,
pretty
I don't
successful.
remember how far we went. Yeah, I remember losing by 1 goal and we got knocked out.
Were you in nationals when we lost to Arkansas? And that one dude, that striker, was fast as heck. Just flew by us in OT. Yeah, that was that game. All right, well.
Yeah, Chris did the little hezzy, and we're like, no, you should have ran out and got it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was fun. So club soccer, I mean, for me, it was like you said, a way to stay competitive and get out there. But I had to work literally for everything. So I'm like, dude, I can't make all these practices. So then that's why the next year I kind of just fell off.
It's a commitment. It was tough, especially if you're out doing other stuff. I mean, it's college, so last thing you're trying to do is if you're not there playing for real, the last thing you're trying to do is go to training every single day.
Yeah.
We had some good times.
What's crazy is they also had what's it called, intramural soccer as well. Dude, I love that, man, because after the tryouts and that club team got me in so much shape, I was ready for anything. Right. So when I played intramurals, I was just killing everybody over there.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. Good times for sure.
Oh, yeah. But moving on, because we want to talk about your career path a little bit. So how do you get into athletic training?
Yeah, so I think, I have kind of the classic story. I'll try not to bore too many of your listeners with that, but I obviously love sports, wanted to stay involved in sports. I had a couple injuries, growing up, going to college, which kind of showed me the career path of physical therapy, of athletic training, strength conditioning. And when I was an undergrad and when you knew me, it was when I was trying to decide what path I wanted to go. And after shadowing, I found that I wanted to stay, if I could, get into the professional environment and kind of grow with a professional team and stay, like I said, stay competitive, feel like you're a part of winning championships, and help people get back on the field and obviously perform at their best level. And so after shadowing and stuff, that's kind of the career path I chose. I had to go get my master's in athletic training. So I went from SIUE to Arkansas. I was there for 2.5 years, or 2.5 semesters? No, sorry. 2.5 years. Yeah. 6 semesters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not right.
Yeah. Well, Eric didn't go for math, so no.
Exactly. So I was there for a couple of years, and then got a gig with DC United, and that's kind of where my career kind of took off. Was there for a few years, and then got a job with Sporting. That's where I've been these last 3 years. But yeah, so
yeah, I was gonna say the DC United. Was that right when Wayne Rooney was playing?
Yeah, so I got there about a month before he got. I had signed an agreement with them, and then 2 or 3 months later, it came out that he signed like a 3-year contract. So I was like, no way.
That's
That
pretty
was cool, man.
wild.
The first day, so when you're an athletic trainer, you see a lot of professionals. You kind of lose that like starstruck moment. When I met Wayne for the first time, it was different. It was one of those like you see him, you start smiling,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's. He's like, yeah, hey, what's up, man? I'm Wayne. I'm like, yeah, I know you are. Like, yeah. I'm like, hey, Wayne, I'm Wayne. Like. It was so that was cool. He was an awesome dude. It was amazing to be able to see him train and then obviously work with him. So I was pretty blessed that my first year I got to work with one of the greats.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's crazy. I never followed DC United, but I did watch highlights because of him. But I remember that one highlight where he like tracked the ball down almost like half
Yeah.
field, turned around, and sent it back in the box. And they got the goal. Like that dude's a
Yeah.
workhorse, man. It's
That was
crazy.
an incredible moment. I'm actually in that video barely. You can kind of see me, but that game actually had such huge implications on the playoff push. Like I think our goalie like came out. It was a season game. Our goalie was in the other box. We still had 15 games left in the season. I mean, we were in dead last at that point, and we needed every point we could get. So him like making
Right.
that tackle, I think we were playing Orlando. Him making the tackle not only saved us the tying point, but then turning around, sprinting another 20 yards, and hitting a 60-yard ball across the field onto Lucho's head, who puts it in, I think, for his hat
Yeah.
trick or whatever. That game was crazy, man.
That man.
That changed the whole.
Yeah,
That changed the
man's
whole
built
season. That
different.
changed the whole season. So
Yeah, I bet. So you're gonna have to like send us a picture of like half your head in the thing, and we're gonna post it on the
there you go.
podcast.
Yeah, there's the guy, a little arrow pointing to him.
yeah.
But dude, it's just right when he makes that tackle, where they're like, whoa, because it was such an
I know, man.
unbelievable
You got
play.
like some of the best seats in the house, you
For
guys.
sure, always, yeah. But
Any other crazy stories from your DC days?
As far as just like in game moments like that,
Yeah, in-game moments, any time that you're like, ooh, starstruck, or
I didn't have any.
anything
I didn't have any
crazy that happened.
starstruck moment. I had a few cool things. I mean, that same year we went to the playoffs against Columbus. This is my first year, right? First year in the pros, feeling like everything you do, you're making an impact. You're like feeling that for the first time. So you're getting butterflies every
Right.
game. Our first playoff game was against the Crew. We went to PKs, but right before PKs, we were down. I think it was 2-1. We were down 2-1, and a guy that we had been working with all year. I'll credit Gab Manuel. He was our PT at the time. He did the majority of the guys' rehab, but I was there, right, and hanging out and witnessing it all. He hadn't played much this whole season. Comes on late in the game of the Crew game, and then we're down 2-1. They scored an OT in the 117th or 18th minute. I have this video saved. He scores a half volley right outside the box to tie the game. So sick.
Oh,
Stadium
man.
erupts. It's one of the loudest I've heard a stadium ever. Now I've heard a few more, but at the time I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. And we ended up losing in PKs, but that moment
man.
was sick, dude, where you just like, you think it's kind of over, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, ball just pops out. This guy hammers it home, and you're like, oh my God, a place is erupting. You're jumping, and everyone's hugging each other. That was a memorable moment. And then the other cool moment I had was I worked with U.S. men's national team player Paul Arriola in 2020. He actually,
yeah.
He unfortunately tore his ACL at the beginning of the year, and we worked basically the whole year trying to get him back. That process was fun. I mean, that's a great guy. Him and I have been pretty close since then. But he came in the very last game of the season. He had been kind of ready for a few weeks, and we were like, do we use him? Do we not? And the last game of the season was like a do or die game, whether we could make the playoffs or not in 2020. That was a COVID year. That was just a strange year in general. But so he got to come into that game, and obviously he played well. We ended up not making it to the playoffs, but that whole process was really cool for me, and I have a lot of memories from all of that. And but other than that, I mean, I'm sure there's things I'm missing out on, but those are some of the bigger moments. I mean, again, that was like real early in the career too, so everything you're doing, all these rehabs you feel like it's a first, and it's exciting, and you're starting to build yourself out as a professional.
Right, absolutely. I mean, that's exciting because I mean, obviously, we were friends on Instagram and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, this dude, he's working in the MLS. That's awesome. And it's like you just never expect someone to go in that career.
Right.
Like, not that it's a bad career. I'm just saying it's just like not your typical,
right. Yeah, for sure.
But it's awesome though. I mean, so like, what does a process like that, like, so I guess it depends on the injury, but like, how does that, like a day-to-day work like that?
With
Like, I guess for, for that specific player, like
yeah, I mean,
you come up with the plan.
yeah. So typically, I mean, you have a group, right? There's a whole team of us. So whether it's physical therapists, strength conditioning coaches, nutritionist, athletic trainer, you're always trying to work together, right, for a common goal for that athlete to come back at the highest level. And so typical day is that injured player is coming in early, typically working with somebody on the table to gain, simple things back, whether it's range of motion or just get the day going. Maybe he's got some
Yeah.
simple pains, aches, whatever. You're working to get those better. Then you're taking them into the gym where you're working on some of the early, rehab exercises or prep exercises. It depends on what part of the process he's at, but so you'll have some treatment stuff on the table. Then maybe you'll go into the gym. Then you'll go to the field again, depending on what part of the process you're at. And you might have some field-based stuff with some of the coaches, some controlled stuff, maybe some partial training work, and then post again, you're kind of doing some tabletop stuff if needed. But that day looks like a 3-4 hour day sometimes with an individual player. So anytime you see these long-term rehab guys come back, somebody's been working with that player for I'd say probably around 4 hours every day since they got hurt until they got back, for the most part. So it
Oh
is
man.
truly a process, and that develops a bond, and that's why a lot of times you'll see these players and staff members be so close, because you obviously develop that bond through time. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a typical day. I don't know if I want to get too detailed of what actually goes down, but there's a lot of people working together to help that person reach their goals. And like I said,
Yeah.
they come in early, they work hard, they stay for quite a long time. It's not just like they come in for 40 minutes, do some stuff, and they're out. Like, they're in there grinding. And then that's why it's such a huge thing when it pays off for them when they come back on the field and have success. And that's kind of the beauty of our job and
Yeah.
our favorite parts of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say absolutely, because it's like, that's their job. Like
Right.
that's their career. Like that's something they love to do, and it's like your guys' job to get them back to that level. Because not everybody can come back to that elite level after like a serious injury.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's getting better as medicine evolves, and like people in our profession continually get better, get smarter, and more things come out that we can help. Surgeries or doctors are getting, but everyone's getting a little bit better. It's getting a bit easier, I think, for people to hit that top level again. But you're right, it's never a guarantee. And I think before it was a lot tougher for these players to come off long-term injury and hit that top level that they were at. So, but
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
when you went to school, did you want to specialize in sports, or did that come at a later time?
I think,
Was it just like physical therapy or sports, or was it like sports related?
yeah. So I think it's always been sports for me. Physical therapy was, what I utilized to rehab my shoulder injury and some other things that I had through sports. But I had worked in, do you know the River City Rascals, Mondo, or no? Or like the Gateway Grizzlies? It's
Yeah,
like
Gateway Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. Yeah. So I worked in independent baseball for a few years as a clubby, and so I was always in the pro sports.
Grizzlies.
Really? There you go. Is that where you are? You from that area? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For the viewers,
yeah.
we've never met, but that's funny. So I worked for them for a few years, and so I was always in that professional environment. And when I chose the career path, my goal was always like, I have to work high level. So whether it's college, or can even be high school, as long as it's like high school that it's at working at a high level in sports.
Right.
And so the goal for me was always professional. It's not that easy. Like, you don't just get into professional sports. I was really lucky with my path, but for the most part, you have to find a way to get an internship. Which means you have to be good enough to get one. Maybe no one have a good resume. Then you have to do well at that internship to then get an opportunity later on, whether it's, in soccer it could be an academy, and baseball could be in the minor leagues, in football.
Right.
There's so many avenues, and it's not easy to get to the top level. And so for me, it was always
have to cut your teeth.
Say that again. Sorry.
Sometimes you have to cut your teeth at the lower levels to just try to get an in.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, and that could be with any job, though.
It is. So the goal for me was always, get to the pros, but I didn't know what that would look like and how hard that could be. So you never really know.
Yeah.
But that was always, I think, my goal. Like I said, I'm a competitor, and I love sports. I love being a piece of every day I get to go into work. I'm working to win a championship with these guys. I'm not on the field, right, producing, but the things I do off the field hopefully help us win games. And to me, that's just so cool. And it's rewarding every time we win. And it'll be even more rewarding if we can win a championship at some point, hopefully this year. But
Yeah, it's like bittersweet hearing this, you know, because I'm like, you know, we just lost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
bro.
know.
But hey, but I will say, from my boy Eric here, even back at the SIU club team, man, you could tell that was your attitude, man. You always took it serious. You were ready to win, but you're always a great dude. So
I appreciate that,
you
dude.
know, yeah,
You can
absolutely,
put that's what you
absolutely.
can
Now-
put for the beginning thing there.
Yeah,
For the
Where are
Instagram
you
post.
originally from, Eric?
I'm from St. Louis. Yeah, so I'm from St.
Okay, so you're
Charles.
originally from.
Yeah, St. Charles, Missouri. So again, it's bittersweet for me. With you guys obviously being at the club, and I'm happy that St. Louis did get a club. I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for both Sporting Kansas City and St. Louis to have this rivalry. So it's kind of funny, you know, being from St. Louis, but then working for Sporting. You have that, like, it's my hometown, but also, you know, I'm grinding with the boys here at Sporting. So like, that's, my heart is obviously with Sporting, but it's a cool scenario.
Yeah, we'll build up to that
Yeah.
in a minute here because I want to talk about like Sporting KC. So how did that happen?
Yep. I was with DC United for a few years, and at the end of it, it was, you know, I didn't have much family there. I have a fiance. She was, you know, she's from the Illinois area. She went to SIUE as well, and I was kind of looking at some point like I should probably try to get a little closer to home, to some family, and you know, DC, like I said, DC gave me my start. I'm forever grateful for that. I think it was just time for new challenges at that point. And Sporting always had a huge reputation for the facility. I think at that time they had made playoffs either 11 straight years or like 11 of 12 years. And they had been first place, you know, 4 or 5 times. They'd won 4 or 5 championships in that amount of time. So they're obviously very historic. I wanted to win. When that position became available, I just kind of applied, threw some feelers out. I talked to some people. The more people I talked to, the more people were like, it's an amazing club. Like, it's one of the standards in MLS to work at that club if you can get there. So then I think I got a little more excited about it and really started trying to get that position. And then at the end of the day, I just interviewed like everyone else. You know, had some good interviews with through their process, and ended up being, you know, one of the athletic trainers they selected. So I was pretty lucky in that case as well. And since then, I've just been growing within that club and as a clinician through a lot of their processes. And again, they have a great staff there that has taught me a lot, and I just continue to learn and try to get better.
Yeah. Did you follow any of the Sporting KC players before you got to the club?
I mean, I knew Beasler was there. I knew Zusi were there. I knew Amelia, Raj. I knew of them, but I tried not to know too much about the team. And I always try to do that. I try not to look into the players because it takes away that like chance to get starstruck or treat anyone any different. So I went there, to be honest. I went there and I barely knew any of their team. I mean, again, like I said, Zuzi is a legend. So I knew some of the players, but for the most part, I didn't know really who I was going to work with, and just kind of met them there, learned their names, and went from there. I did the same with DC. I tried to stay away from it, not fanboy it at all, and just get there and do my job.
Yeah, it's good outlook. So I mean, Varsity Dan here is like, this is his first year following the MLS.
Yep.
So like I started watching back in 2015 because like me and a few boys, we traveled to a different MLS stadium, you know, check out the supporter section and stuff like that. Because I started watching it when David Villa showed up on the scene.
Dude,
he
was a beast for them.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. So I mean, like, I think I would be a little starstruck if I met him a little bit, just because I've been following him for so long, you know. But our first ever trip,
like, dude, I think you've rubbed my thigh enough.
Yeah, and I'd be like,
you want me to go to the next one?
He's like, I don't even work here, brother.
Oh man, oh, that's hilarious. Hey man, whatever, man. I'd be like, hey, by the way, can you sign
that
this?
actually, that actually reminds me of a funny story. I'll have to go into with you real quick. When I was with DC, I think it was 2019. Doesn't matter. Real Madrid was there playing. I don't know who they were playing, but I got to basically be the person on site for their training, just in case something went wrong. I was the medical person. So at the end of it, this reminded me like, you don't have to rub my thigh anymore. At the end of it, I was like, hey, like, And I'm pretty naive at this point. I'm like, do you guys need help down there? Like, do you guys need treatment on any of these guys? You know, like I got Sergio Ramos like saying what's up. I'm like, you guys need help down there? I can do this. I promise you. They're like, bro, get out of here. You know, we don't need you. So that was my moment where I did do that one time where I'm like, yeah, I can come down there. Like, you guys are using our locker room anyways. I know where all the stuff is. They're like, no. You know. So that was cool because obviously all the big guys were there at that time. So good.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine that. Ramos like, dude, get out of here, weirdo.
Well, he came over. He kept coming over, winking. Dude. He was like, "What's up, man?" He knew who he was. You know, he was like big league of me. I'm like, "What's up, man? I know who you are too."
Yeah, he's playing hard to get.
Exactly.
It's all good. But oh man, but yeah, it was funny because Sporting KC was like the first team that we went to go see because obviously it's close to St. Louis, so we went over there because we wanted to get on the fan experience a little bit. I saw that there was a letter that went out that the fans wrote to ownership saying that the fan experience like needed to change. Like, have you heard anything about that?
A little bit. I mean, again, I started to try to stay away from the noise a bit, from all like the outside stuff, and just focus on the stuff within. And I don't go to the games, so I don't know what that experience is like. I know that when I went as a fan, you know, probably 5-6 years ago, it was top. It was one of the best experiences ever. Again, my experience now is different. I'm on the field, so I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes and all that, but I'm sure that, you know, the club's addressing whatever is being sent to them, but I'm not super familiar with that. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
tell me your experience though.
Yeah, well, first I was gonna say is Mahomes not treating you guys right over there or what? No. Have you guys got to meet him yet?
Yeah, he I think I can probably say he trains out of our facility sometimes, so you know he'll say what's up. But again, we try to keep it pretty professional. They're doing their thing, we're doing our thing. But yeah, I think he's technically one of our owners, so he comes to games when he can. I mean, he's an awesome dude. I haven't heard a bad thing about him ever living in Kansas City. So
yeah,
but he's not like in there all the time. Like, hey, what's up?
Right.
You know, he's there. He does his thing. You know, he's still focused and trying to win Super Bowls. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the thing. It's like because people are like, how are you a St. Louis fan but you're a Chiefs fan? I'm like, dude, come on now. My brother-in-law took me to my first ever, NFL game. Yep. It was at Arrowhead, so I mean, I fell in love. So
it's a good place, man. It's a fun place. Were you ever a Rams fan or no?
No. I didn't get into football until late. Like I was just all about soccer. I followed, Premier League and then MLS, and then, but then, like I said, my brother-in-law took me to my first game. Yeah. And then I was like, all right. And then I started playing fantasy football. And I'm like, all right. Now I'm in like 5
you're locked in.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, that's nice. That's why I don't want to get started.
But speaking on,
you keep inviting me to those leagues, but I'm like, nah. I already got enough stuff going on.
It's a commitment. Yeah. It's a commitment, I swear.
Oh, it is. But it's fun. But I mean, I'm even in Premier League, Fantasy League.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that, but a lot of our guys will play, and it seems really fun. Yeah. I've just never done it myself.
Who's your Premier League team? Do you have one?
I followed Liverpool when I was younger. It's hard to say that I like them now because they were so successful. I felt like a little bit of a bandwagon. Like I never watched it that much.
Oh, it's okay. Mine was all about bandwagoning.
He's a Man City fan.
I am a City fan.
Are you? Yeah. So for how long?
And a Chiefs fan.
It's because of Aguero. Yeah. But the thing is, like, I feel like if you never watch the sport and then you get that, like I said, my brother-in-law, we bonded, we went to the game, and then I fell in love with the sport. Right. But it's not like I was a Rams fan before, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm a Chiefs fan.
Now that they're good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So it's not like that. But what's funny,
you didn't go from Man U to Man City, so it's all right then.
No, well, I have a funny story about that. Oh, no. So my wife and I, we both work from home, right? And she's like on the phone call with her boss, and she's like, yeah, my husband, he's a huge sports fan, huge soccer fan. And then I heard the boss say, oh, I'm a Liverpool fan. What team does he follow? And she's like, oh, it's one of the Manchester teams. So then I'm like holding our baby, and I'm like, what's she about to say, And then she's like, it's Manchester United. I'm like, God dang it, bro. I'm like, if you want to impress your boss, you can't mention Manchester United, man. Jesus. But it was hilarious. But Yeah, I know, especially not these days. But oh man, we just got way off topic.
Nah,
But
that's
yeah,
good.
but getting back to it, fan experience at Sporting KC. I mean, it was all right. It was our first ever trip, so obviously it's not going to be bad, right? Because it's all new to us.
Yep.
I would say now that I've experienced like a few different supporter sections, like at the time, it was kind of just like super low key, not as loud as I thought it would be. But like I said, like it was like a
Was
one.
it this year
No. This was back in 2015.
when you went to Sporting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was our very first trip. It was back in
Got you. Okay.
2015.
Yeah. Keep going.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean it was all right. And then it's just like so out of the way a little bit, right? Because we had to go to Power and Light, which was seemed like I took a trip all the way back home to get there.
After the game, you're saying after the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stadium is in its own little thing. They built it up. Have you been back since or no?
I went like a year later with my
Okay.
brother-in-law,
Yeah,
but
so
then
it
I haven't
wouldn't
been
be.
back since then.
They have like the Legends now. They built it up a little bit around there, but it's definitely in a different location than like where Arrowhead is and some of the other places.
I hear they have a nice furniture store.
Like I said, though. Yeah, okay. Honestly, it is pretty nice. Like I said, I don't know like the politics behind where we get the stadiums and all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no worries.
And like I said, I don't usually do the fan stuff, so I'm part of the team, so I don't see that piece of it. But I don't know. A lot of people that I've brought to the games have always had a good time, and I feel like I've turned a lot of people into soccer fans, which is what it is for me. Like that's a huge piece of it. Just trying to grow the game and
Definitely
hope people can enjoy it. But it's certainly in a different area than like the Union Station downtown where you guys put yours and whatnot. But it's different cities.
Right. Yeah, and it also depends. Like now, like Danny and I, like now that we've like had this podcast and are like focusing on the fan experience, like we know what to look for, what to do. You know what I mean? Like we know how to get more involved. Whereas before we just showed up and we're kind of just like standing around, So yeah, a little early on. But all right. But jumping in, we got a couple general questions for you since you're from this area, but you're working for the Rivals right now. First one. Who has better barbecue?
I actually thought about this question. Dude, I don't know. And it is not that either are lacking at all, right? Both are phenomenal. I feel super biased because I've had the St. Louis barbecue. Dude, I really don't know. Kansas City barbecue is very, very good. Mm-hmm. It is up there. For me, it's in my top three. My top three, I think, is Austin, because I've had excellent barbecue in Austin, Kansas City, and then obviously St. Louis, the hometown. If you go to the right place in St. Louis, it's outrageous. I think it depends on maybe, like I think St. Louis ribs are probably better than any Kansas City ribs, but then Kansas City brisket is good. It depends, dude, and it depends. I've had unreal Kansas City barbecue. Like there's a place called Q39. I've been there, and at its best, it is out of the park, right? And then I've been a couple times where it's been mediocre, which is still really good. So it's so hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. Both are phenomenal. I don't know. It's hard. I'm a little biased because I'm from St. Louis, but Kansas City barbecue is nice too. I can't really compare. It's different.
Yeah. My brother-in-law lives in Manhattan, Kansas.
Yep.
So we have to obviously pass through Kansas City all the time. But every time we go through there, he's always like barbecue. I'm like, all right, man.
Joe's, whatever.
Yeah, Kansas City Joe's.
It is good, man. It's super good here. So I have so much of it. It's like I said, it's hard to compare.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then next question: which city is the real soccer capital?
I knew this was going.
We have to ask it, man. People are wanting to know.
Yeah. Again, I got to stay like a bit out of this question, but I will say is this. What I will say is this: is that I think I'll go into detail, but again, I'm gonna dance around the question just a little bit. I'm from St. Louis. I understand the history of the soccer in St. Louis, and it's valid, right? Like there is a lot of history in St. Louis for soccer. Getting a team there is massive. All of that stuff is huge. I think that there's also a huge piece of it, like Kansas City brought right to soccer as well, bringing a team in. There's a reason the World Cup is coming to Kansas City. They obviously have done a lot right as well. And so they really helped build the MLS too in the early stages. They've been around it. They've been very good for soccer as well. So, from a non-political standpoint and all that, and like I said, just speaking truly from all honesty, is I don't care, because at the end of the day, Kansas City did so much for soccer and for its history and its created history and for the MLS. Like it's been massive for all of that. Which, if Kansas City wasn't so huge with the MLS, there may have never been a St. Louis team, right? The league could have folded at a certain point. So it's impossible to compare, but there is, for sure, it's a valid thing. There is a lot of history in St. Louis. I totally agree with that. And again, at the end of the day, I like the headline of this because it creates animosity, anger between fans, which is rivalry,
Drama.
which is great for the league. It's great for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
It creates drama. Like, at the end of the day, I love it because this is what you need, right? This is what the league needs. We needed a good rival. This is going to be something that's fun every year. Every game we have is going to be loud. There's going to be a lot of fans. It's going to be, that a little extra intense. The games are going to mean just that little bit more. And that's what you like live for, right? So for me, I don't really care who is and who isn't or whatever. I know it's just a headline. Nobody that's like within our organization, I think, cares about that either.
Right.
But we're happy that it has drawn, hopefully, fans, viewership, rivalry, whatever that looks like, because that's only going to benefit both sides, right?
You ever thought about a political career?
Yeah. You like that answer? You guys better like that answer. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, how's he going to answer this?
That's my most honest way to answer it. Right? Like, it's fair from both sides. I mean, I have family that's part of the St. Louis. That's part of the St. Louis history in soccer. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that St. Louis isn't part of huge history in soccer. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Kansas City wasn't a huge piece either. Right.
Right. What's funny though is, like, I think it all started with, there was a podcast that was like the Soccer Capital or something. I don't know what the podcast was called.
Yeah.
And then they got a cease and desist, like, letter saying, like, hey, don't stop using this. So I think that's what sparked it all. And you don't have to comment, on that part. But I was just like, what the heck's going on here? And then that's when it started taking off like crazy. And that was before the first match, right? I think that was before the very first match.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I know is that, like I said, if it created a little bit of rivalry, maybe somebody pre-planned it. Somebody smarter than all of us. Who knows?
Conspiracy right here.
The two owners of the club are messaging back, hey, I'm about to send this letter out. You approve?
Maybe, who knows, honestly. But like I said, I think at the end of the day, as long as if it creates a little something between the fans and between the clubs, I think it's only for the best, because like I said, the rivalry will only help both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for the rivalry. I think it's pretty crazy because, like, I grew up in a time where, like, if you're playing, right, and you, like, you start hating someone on the field, you want to kill them, you have that competitive edge. But then after the game, you're like, whatever, it's done.
Right.
For the most part. Because there are some people I still hate to this day from the fourth grade.
Hey, Jerry, where you at?
Oh man, Elliot from Club Soccer. No,
he's gonna believe that's three times. He's gonna believe you're serious.
I tell him every time. Yeah, I tell him every time because I still see him all the time, like through Saul and stuff.
I see my games and stuff.
Yeah, man, he's a good dude. He cracks me up. But oh man, I lost my train of thought on that one, man. Just getting so angry. But yeah, so like the rivalry thing, right? So it's just like, some people, man, they take it to heart, man. They're ready to kill out there, and I'm like, hey, man, relax.
The players are actually friends, guys. But, like, chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you said, at the end of the game, like, guys, we have a lot of respect for what you guys did this year and all your guys' players. I don't think there was any like personal bad blood in between there. Like you said, it's part of the game, man. When you're on the field, in between those lines is different than what happens outside those lines. So,
absolutely.
And there's no doubt that, like, everyone at our organization is like, we know like how successful you guys' season was. I think everyone in the league's pretty happy about that. Like, nobody expected it. Again, it's just good for the league and it's good for the rivalry. And like I said, everything in between those lines is different than what happens after.
Yeah, it's crazy, but like in all honesty, like, not even the fans expected this team to be that, this well or do this great. So. No. But it is what it is. But next question, probably the most important question we'll ask you all night.
Let's hear it.
Why are Pulido's shorts so small?
thing is because his legs are so jacked.
He's like, I rub on those things all day, man.
He's like, bro, I gotta show the people, He's ripped, dude. He is ripped though. He's jacked. So I don't know for real, but my guess is if he's pulling him up at all, it's just to show off a little bit. Can't blame him. If I had quads like that, dude, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah, man. The thing is, like, if my legs were that big, like my legs are so hairy, it just wouldn't even look good, man.
Yeah.
I can't pull it off. Oh, man.
He can pull it off, huh? Good play.
Well, I mean,
I don't know that you guys
depends who you're asking.
That,
yeah.
Mondo's the one who came up with this question. So I don't know.
What, I saw it online or something. Okay, so back to the the fan perspective, but I guess not really from you, because you're on the field, you're in multiple different stadiums. Like, how does City Park compare? Because I know you hear the crowds, right? Like, even though you stay out of it, like you hear the crowds before the matches. Like, how does City Park compare to the rest of the MLS teams?
Yeah, this year was incredible. If it wasn't the best, it's definitely top 3. I will be interested to see what it's like these next few years, because obviously any new team, you're going to get that hype. You're going to get these crazy crowds. I know you guys are sold out for quite a few years, so I'm hoping that it stays like that. Again, like that, it's exciting for us to come into as well, right? It's intimidating, but it's exciting. It brings a lot more to the game. I think this year is probably number 1, man. I mean, you guys are up there. Austin is up there. LAFC, when their full crowd gets going. Portland. So we've got a few that do compare, but man, with the rivalry, I feel like too, you guys were just booming a couple of those times, especially those games that we lost. Man, it was loud when Klaus scored that one goal. Man, it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I would say, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm just trying to speak honestly, but I would say it was definitely up there. And then I had some family go to those games as well. Obviously, I have family from the area.
Yeah.
And they've been to sporting games, and they also said that the experience itself was good. The food is good. Like, everything about it was good. So there you go. From a rival person, I'm telling you guys that you guys are doing a good job there, which is, again, that just is a good thing for the league. It's a good thing for the club. I hope that you guys continue that, because it only helps not only Sporting but all the other MLS teams as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking on Austin, like that was our trip this year. We went down to Austin.
Yeah.
Dude, I had an amazing time. Yeah, I had a great time. Like, the crowd was, awesome. Like, I wore my referee gear in their supporter section. They made me wear a T-shirt over it. They wouldn't let me do it. But other than that, everyone had a great time. They treated me with respect. Like, they knew we were City fans, just there visiting. But yeah, I mean, their chants, everything about that. I think our stadium's better. I think our stadium's top notch compared to any in the league that I've been to.
Stadiums were very nice. Yeah, I haven't been like in all the different suites and rooms, but standing on the field and looking up and out is it's a beautiful stadium. I mean, it looks like it's top quality in every way. So they seem to do it right as far as building that. So the owners
absolutely.
and all them.
Yeah.
And again, like I know a lot of people that work for that team as well, whether it's medical staff. I know the equipment guy. A little bit. I've met Lutz a few times, and some of the coaches, and they've all been awesome as well. So you guys have a good staff. You guys have a lot of good people at that club. I think it will just continue to get better. Hopefully not better than us, but continually. but for sure, I think there'll be a lot of success with that club, especially with the fan experience, and then just the fans in general. There'll be success there for quite a long time, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what made. I mean, Danny can speak to this a little bit too, but I mean, that's what made our job a little bit easier this year, was because the fan experience was so great.
Yeah, most definitely. But like we said before, I didn't really have an expectation, because I had never really attended a MLS match before. So all I know is City Park so far.
Hey, you love it though, huh? You never attended a game, but now you love it, don't you? It's crazy.
Totally.
So many people have never been to a game. And they'll go and they're like, this is amazing. This is an amazing sport, and the atmosphere, the energy. So my guess is that you love it.
Absolutely.
Other than just the podcast.
Yeah, no. Totally hooked. Just the atmosphere. It's unlike any other sporting event that I've, got to partake in. Been to Cardinal playoff games, Blues playoff games, which, those are pretty electric too. And
also electric, yeah.
Battlehawks is pretty electric, but I think City Park definitely takes it.
But the thing is, you can just get a game. Like you could get a random Saturday game, 5 games into the season, and it's like you're down 2-1 in the 88th, and you score, and then you get a winner in the extra time.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's championship game, right? Like you just
absolutely.
feel like you just don't get that energy other than playoffs in other sports.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that might not be totally true, but I don't know.
Close.
I just feel like there's always awesome moments in soccer.
Oh yeah, and there was a lot of those crazy moments this year, which is awesome because there's a lot of like interesting goals, like interesting like scenarios that happened this year, which I'm glad they did because there's a lot of new fans to soccer MLS, so like they got to see that and they're like, what the hell's going on here, you know? So, but it was really cool to see. But another thing,
well,
go
with
ahead,
MLS, it's kind of like CONCACAF. You can expect the unexpected because some weird stuff's going to happen. And the style of play is a lot different than, European football, where it's more technical. Sometimes it's a little more direct. So you get these. It's very entertaining, especially the style that St. Louis is playing right now. That high press. I mean, they're going to score a lot of goals or they're going to give up a lot of goals. So it's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like before we move on to the to the next part. Do you ever get heckled out there, like doing your job out there?
Me?
On the field, yeah.
Oh, you guys, St. Louis, man. St. Louis was killing me. I'm like, I'm from here. Relax. So yeah, because I'd have the first game. I had so many friends. Like coming down, try to take a picture, say hello to me, friends and family. Like I had probably 50 or 60 people that I knew were coming down. And as I was walking across the sports center, hey, get the out of here, like we don't like you, Yeah, I know. What's you guys? I'm like hugging City fans. They're like, no, this guy sucks, whatever. So, but yeah, we get heckled for sure, especially if we have to go on the field during a game, or if it looks like it's something that maybe isn't serious and we're on there, people are killing us. So,
Dude,
but it's like
hilarious.
it's all just background noise. I mean, a couple of times I'm like, oh wow, that was good. Like I've actually chuckled a couple of times. Some people have some good one-liners, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
For the most part, dude, you're so locked in because I would say more than 80% of the time something did happen to that player that's on the ground. Maybe even more than 90, where it's like you're so focused on your job and like what you need to do that you don't really hear it. But every once in a while, you'll catch a stray and you're like, all right.
That's my mother you're talking about because
Exactly.
Daniel, he said some things, man, early on in the season.
Yeah. I wasn't proud of it.
Like easy, man. You had to teach him.
Oh yeah. We had to hire.
You're giving out a lot of cards at that point.
Oh yeah. Because most of the time we go to these games, like we're just throwing back beers, having a good time.
Yeah.
So if you catch us in like the 75th minute, bro, I don't know what we're saying.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh man, but that's always funny, man. But you had shared a story about a celebration, like a player came over and celebrated with you after like a long rehab session. Can you get into that a little bit?
Sure. One of the athletes I was working with, Willie Agata. So there's like a video piece on him and his rehab, and I was a big piece of that. But he ends up scoring a goal. This goal has now ended up being a massive goal for us because it was against Houston. We were down a man, ended up being the game-winning goal, and that was actually the game before we played you guys for the second time in City Park. But that win, I mean, it came down to the last game for us, right? That win was one of our, we lost. I'm trying to think now. I think we beat Houston. We lost to you guys, and then we went win to get in. So that win ended up, if he didn't score this goal, if we didn't win this game, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. One of those scenarios.
That's nuts.
So sorry, yeah. Now I'm really rambling, but getting back to it. That moment was he scored that goal. He had just got back kind of from his rehab. He had actually scored a goal in a previous game, but we were losing, I think 4-0 to I forget what team it was. But so it was one of those you're not really going to run over and celebrate with somebody after you're losing. But so he scored that goal. It was a huge goal. Ran over, celebrates with me, gives me a big hug. It was one of those moments where that's why you kind of do the job. You feel like you're a huge piece of bringing him back, and then he scores in moments like that. And then again, like I had spoke on earlier, is goals are like that, moments are like that, is where you really feel like you're a piece of this team's success. And now you're like, I helped that guy come back. That guy scores the goal that helps our team win. That win helps us make the playoffs. And now here we are. Right now we're in the conference semis. So That was what they chatted about in that, and that was one. Yeah, that's one of those special moments. I've had a few of those, but that was one this year that was really cool. As again, I'm just a piece of it. There was multiple people that did help him obviously return to his performance. I just happened to be one that did a lot of the day-to-day with him. And in that moment, I was on the bench and he started sprinting over to me. So it was cool. It was funny because, and I talk about this on that other podcast as well, but so he kind of celebrates on his own for a second, and then you can see it like clicks in his head where he's like, oh, I got to go see Eric, like in the moment.
Yeah,
so he kind of like slides to the fans and immediately pops up, starts sprinting towards me. And I circle back to when we first got this guy as a player, his first ever goal. He sprinted to Peter and like jumped up, and like Peter had to catch him, and he's like holding him like, I got you, let's go, we're gonna win this game, So I didn't know what energy he was about to bring to me. I'm like, am I gonna have to catch this guy? Like, is he gonna throw me up in the air? I don't know. He's ripped, like he's super strong. So it was pretty funny. He's running towards me, like sprinting towards me. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? Like, do I need to like brace? What's about to happen here? But he just came. He celebrated. It was a really cool moment that year for me, or this year, I guess. And yeah, so that's one of those special things, I guess, about this job that sometimes comes to fruition and all those moments line up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because we have a deal with Akil Watts that if he scores in front of our supporter section, he's got to come celebrate with us.
Yeah, moment you'll never forget.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, just him saying, yes, he'll do it, that's a moment we'll never forget. And a moment we'll never let him forget.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. If he scores though and he doesn't do it now, you need to jump and start chasing him down.
Yeah, I know.
Hopefully it's past the 75th minute. You'll have the courage.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's hilarious. But yeah, man, that's an awesome story. But getting onto that podcast, because like you say it's not your podcast, right? But you just
right.
like you're. I guess what would you be? Like you're not a guest, right? You're on it. Like,
no, I guess I'm one of the hosts for sure. So I am one of the hosts, but I guess I meant it in like it's not like I started up a podcast or anything. Like it wasn't it wasn't technically even my idea. I'm just happy to be a piece of it. And we're just trying to really help show, I guess, the world and mostly students that are interested in athletic training, like a bit of what we do, how to get involved. Eventually we'll start doing some research stuff where we're trying to teach a little bit. But so really trying to just gain a following for PSATs, which is Professional Soccer Athletic Trainer Society. That's kind of why we made it, right? We weren't really making it for ourselves to go into too many stories. It's supposed to be for other people to get some insight.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how people, that's how people can relate. Like if you tell those stories, like what you just shared, like people are going to be more intrigued. People are going to be more, interested in hearing that, and then right. They'll get all the other information along the way. But yeah, I mean, it was a dope story. I started listening to it. I mean, it's a pretty unique perspective. So
right on. Did you check out the video or no?
No, not the video yet.
You gotta, if you hear the story now, you got to see the video, and you'll be fully invested.
Maybe we'll play if we get it. We'll play it on our podcast too, so other people can see it.
The video of like the actual rehab, or you're saying the video of him running at me?
Running at you.
That one's intense.
We'll pause it on Eric. He's just,
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. Your fans will love you guys posting a sporting player sprinting in excitement.
Yeah,
maybe not now.
Yeah. Let's edit that whole section out.
There you go. Take that out. Peace out.
I come like we're friends, obviously, and then I forget that you're with Sporting Kansas City.
No, I'm making you guys. This has been going so good. You guys are gonna be like, man, do we like Sporting now? What?
On that,
you're like, no chance.
I always thought, as a Cardinals, I'm a Cardinals fan. Our rivals have always been Chicago for pretty much every sport. So the Kansas City thing, I'm like, why would we hate Kansas City? And then the cease and desist thing. And then, now losing to them in our playoff game, now we don't like Kansas City.
Yeah, it's created, man. I said from the beginning, I was like, man, we got to sneak in. Once you guys were pretty much clearly the top dog, I'm like, we got to sneak in here and play St. Louis because you couldn't write the script any better, right? You couldn't write it any better for the brand new team comes in, they get in the playoffs. We have we won one, you won one, then you guys won. You guys won, we won, then you won again. It's like, now if we can get into the playoffs, another 3 games set, like what, imagine 6 times first year. It's supposed to be a rivalry. You couldn't write it any better than that happening. And then it happened. So I was like, man, if somebody is writing a script, what a job they did, because that's going to create something, right? Somebody was going to come out of that very furious. Again, it's going to promote the rivalry. And like I said, I feel like Sporting needed a really solid rival like this. I think our technical rival was Minnesota before, and it was, but this has a little more like boiling blood, I feel like. And now you guys also have like an immediate rival that, again, for years, hopefully you have just amazing games and memories and moments, right? And so there will be years where, we're on top, and I'm sure there will be years where it goes the other direction.
Right.
And so that's just going to promote these amazing memories for people, for fans, for staffs, for years to come. So
yeah, absolutely. And one, if someone is writing a script, they need to write in some more corner kicks because I lost a couple bets. And two, we kind of talked about it before. I was like, because I was on the same page, because a lot of people were like, we want, well, I guess it was before San Jose, because a lot of people did not want Sporting Kansas City. But I was like, we were talking. I was like, dude, it would be dope, like if we got that rivalry like the first 3 games, like it would be sick. And it happened, and it didn't turn out too well. But
why did you guys want San Jose?
I
didn't want San Jose.
I thought it would be easier. They were in Kansas City, they were in great form leading up to the playoffs, and San Jose wasn't. So, and with soccer, sometimes it's just who gets hot at the end, who still has a little bit more left in the tank. And I feel like you guys were very depleted in the beginning of the season, which caused that bad stretch. But then everybody's coming back from injuries. You're getting all your key players back. It was a problem.
Yeah, the beginning of the year too is, you guys probably didn't follow, but we actually played very well. The majority of the first 10 games, we played really, really well. We just couldn't find ways to win, and I think that just started to wear on some confidence. We took a few red cards in those games. Like, looking back, you're like, we weren't really ever playing that bad. We just didn't catch
a couple more.
We just didn't catch many breaks at the beginning of the year there. So I think the team always believed that we were good, and like I said, we did get very hot at the end there, which helps. And again, I think this within our organization, everyone always believed we had a great team and had a chance to go far. So we were just happy to kind of get in, and we're just happy now being here, and hopefully things keep going our way.
Yeah, and it's like it's tough because like I said, I love the rivalry. Obviously, St. Louis soccer fan through and through. That one's for Danny, but but it's just funny because it's like I travel to all these different MLS stadiums, and I want to experience like their fan experience through their perspective, and see what's going on, because that genuinely interests me, and that's what I want to do. So it's like, I don't want to hate on these teams at the end of the day. I want to go hang out with them and, see what's going on. But, when they're playing St. Louis, I obviously want them to lose, though. Right. So
understandable.
But we'll see. Yeah. So you'll have to give us the full Sporting KC fan experience when we head out there to a game when they're not playing St. Louis.
Yeah, no, that's a definite. Yeah. If you come when they're not playing St. Louis, I can take care of you guys a lot easier. If you come playing St. Louis, I'm acting like I don't know you.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing, dude. It's like I said, it's cool. I prefer that our stadium is completely filled with our fans, but obviously I'm excited when it's bumping like it was. So it's cool either way, I guess.
Yeah, and that was pretty wild. I was supposed to be at that game, and then things happened. I couldn't make it, but.
Did you come to the game, not the playoff game? Did you come to the other one?
No. So every time Sporting KC played St. Louis, my wife had other plans for me. So I made like one game, and then the first playoff game. So I guess I made those two. But yeah, like I left her at a wedding once. She never lets me live it down.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, man.
Live and you learn.
Yeah. Except I haven't learned yet, so we'll see. But what's funny is like talking back to the beginning of the season, that 10-game stretch. The only way we knew about that was from, a Sporting KC content creator called Cavincio. You heard of him?
No.
So apparently, like, that dude's like really good friends with quite a few of the players, man. He's got some great content. You'll have to check him out.
What's his name? Say it again.
Cavincio.
It's like Kevin.
What is he? Like a podcast guy, or what's he do?
Twitter. He does YouTube. He makes a bunch of videos, just like content on Sporting KC.
Yeah.
I believe he's an Argentine. He's from Argentina.
Maybe I have seen one thing, but I don't know that I mean, I've never met him. I never really heard of him within, so I don't know if he's.
Yeah, he's had Johnny Russell on there. He's had Daniel on there. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, that's the only reason we knew how bad Sporting KC started out. But
yeah, he does like reaction videos, and then he does like he watches the game, and then like reacts.
Okay,
to the game.
I feel like I've seen one.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I feel like I've seen one of his videos. Now that you say that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like that, like the fan community, it spreads across because like Fabian Wrinkle, right? He like did this thing on Twitter, like the poll for the best podcast, like fan podcast, right? And it's crazy like how many people were like submitting different fan podcasts out there. And I'm like, dude, this fan community is like outrageous. So then when you're talking about the rivalry and like people wanting to kill each other, it's good for MLS. Like that just opened the doors for like, crazy amounts of rivalries, man. But yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation. I'm not gonna say good luck for this next game.
Dang, that's petty.
That's ice cold, man. That's all right.
Maybe they see a lot of cards.
Oh man, yeah. But we wish you all the best, personally, individually. This is not also coming from the club.
I will say, I will say this. I want Kansas City to win. That way we can say we lost to the champions.
Lost to the winners.
To the champions.
Exactly.
So
he's got the right idea.
I
thought I liked this guy.
I'm gonna stick with LAFC. Just because
is that who you think will go all the way? Is that your honest opinion?
I think I would like to see LAFC versus Sporting. Like before the
conference final.
Yeah.
Me too.
But because I'm a Vela fan, man. I mean, you saw this story about you had him on the podcast, Sean.
Yep.
Yeah, like so I was there. It was before St. Louis started up, but it was like
I know this story.
Yeah. Cool so I'm a huge Carlos Vela fan, and I was down there. It was pouring rain. Everybody was miserable. And then I talked to a lot of the players down there, and they're like, yeah, I'll sign it. And then they ended up winning late. And then all of them forgot about me and left. And Sean was walking by. I started talking to him. So Sean took my jersey in the back, got it signed by the whole team, and brought it back to me, man. It was awesome.
I remember you told me that, man. I need to bump that out as well on our pod. That's such a legendary story because that's the kind of guy he is. So I think that's cool. I remember you actually told me that on Instagram. That was a couple of years back, right?
Yeah. It was awesome.
So, or was that this year? Either way, I do remember you telling me that. So that's cool. And yeah, Sean was on our pod. So he's a great dude, and that's the guy he is. So that doesn't shock me at all. But cool story.
Yeah, but it's just crazy. And then that's the thing. Last thing, because I forgot to ask this question. So a lot of City players, they have been went above and beyond, like for the fans, like taking jerseys back in the locker room, getting it signed by Berkey, bringing it back, giving out jerseys every home game. Like I don't know if that's the first year, but like everybody's so humble, so nice. Do you get the same experience like at the Sporting KC games with those guys?
Yep, for sure. And at DC, man. I think that's just the culture, at least in the MLS. I want to say soccer, but definitely in the MLS, that's like the culture. That's like one of the best parts of, I think, working in the MLS, and the fans can see it, and that's what I deal with every day, right? I always feel welcomed. Every day I go into work, every player is coming up and saying hello to me, shaking my hand, what's up, how are you? Like, you don't get that in every sport. And I feel like they take like that culture and they put it to the fans at every level, whether it's autographs or saying hello, going to events. I mean, it's above and beyond, either through the good and through the bad. I mean, there's times I'll call out one of our players, Kyrie Shelton. There were times where, fans were coming at him. We were doing bad in the season, and at the end of the day, the last guy on the field after a win or a loss is still walking around saying hello to kids, signing stuff. So that's just like not only kind of person he is, but the culture I feel like of soccer, where those guys are doing that after games and whatnot. But I've heard that St. Louis has a lot of really good guys in that locker room and has a good locker room, so that always helps too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's awesome that you mentioned Kyrie Shelton because, I think I told you, I
York.
followed him back, when he was NYCFC. So I followed him, quite a bit. So it was awesome to see him, do well personally, So it's like you can't hate the dude.
Right, dude. He's behind the scenes, like off the field, an incredible guy. So.
Yeah, just like you, brother. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Love it. Woo. I appreciate you guys having me, dude, and thanks for not giving me too many tough questions here, obviously with the rivalry, but
Oh,
enjoy
yeah,
it.
no worries.
Hopefully I can do this again. Maybe do it like building up to a game next year. So I enjoyed it,
absolutely.
and wish you guys the best. Obviously next season again. Hopefully both teams are very competitive. It's good for the game, and let's do it next year.
Sounds good.
Dude, this guy, we need to get him to like do all of our hype speeches, before we get
There
on
you
a
go.
podcast or something. He's a
Man, whatever you
romantic,
need.
man. He's a romantic. But thanks again, brother. Till next time.